Welcome to Wealth Made Simple with Shaz, where you'll learn how to master your money through business, property, and tax-saving strategies. Your host has collectively helped his clients make tens of millions of pounds in additional profits through these strategic approaches to business. Introducing Shaz Nawaz, an award-winning chartered accountant, property tax expert, entrepreneur, and property investor.
Talking about mindset on this show, we're going to talk about money mindset. It's kind of an extension to what we've spoken about before about money, but the traits that money likes, because money doesn't have a mind of its own, but it does follow particular paths.
Yes, it does. And what path are we following today?
We're following the path of information.
So you're saying money has certain traits?
I'm saying that money has traits that it likes. So, for example...
Just want to be clear.
Yeah.
You're trying to confuse me, aren't you?
Always. I'm always trying to confuse you. If you believe you are bad with money, you will always be bad with money. If you believe you are broke, you will always probably be broke. Because common misconception. Act broke, be wealthy. Don't act wealthy and be broke. But a lot of people misunderstand that into thinking you're broke when in actual fact you've got money in the bank. No, because the people with money in the bank, I promise you, do not think they're broke. But they live within their means. They spend less than they earn. They have assets that pay for liabilities. They have a growth plan. They understand money is a tool and not a commodity.
What if somebody wants to be wealthy and act wealthy too? Is that okay?
Of course it's okay. But I can promise you that a wealthy person can pretend to be broke for far longer than a broke person can pretend to be wealthy.
It's about being sensible, isn't it?
It is. And, you've got to...
Live within your means.
You've got to take a look at it as... if you want that designer suit, fine, if you can afford it. And something that I quite like the concept of is I would rather pay twice as much for something when I can afford it than half as much for something when I've got to take it as debt.
So she's saying I can't max out my credit card and I can't have that helicopter we were talking about.
No. I mean... You can if you want.
Is life worth living?
You can do it if you want. I'm not here to tell you what to do. But if
I always follow your advice, though.
But if you max out your credit card and, say you are paying...
astronomical amount of interest, which I don't max out my credit card, by the way, and I have to make my payment every month, just so you know.
Say you're paying... Let's say you've got a really, really, really good deal and you're paying 10% on your credit card. 10% APR.
That ain't good in my world, by the way, but yeah.
But for a lot of people, 10% is a good percent APR rate on your credit card. For me, wouldn't touch it. But I have a credit card that stays roughly with
in your wallet.
Yeah, exactly that. And you max it out. Say you've got let's call it £10,000 on your credit card. Okay, £10,000. Do you know what the minimum monthly payments would be if you maxed it out? And could you afford those? The answer is probably not. Because even if it's only 10% annual percentage rate increase.
It's adding up, and then something that you paid money for, which you might thought you got a good deal on, once you add in the interest...
It's not such a good deal.
Late charges and all that kind of stuff, if that happens, it ain't a good deal, is it?
Yeah, and if you earn the average salary within the UK, which is £30,000, and that's works out roughly at about £2,000 a month.
After tax.
After tax, yeah. So your take home net is £2,000. You've got a credit card of 10 grand.
How did you find out how much I earn?
Well, I help fill in the balance sheet.
You've been looking at my payslips, haven't you?
I have.
My bank statements.
I have.
Naughty boy.
I know. I'm
hide
terrible. You need to hide them better.
Buy a safe. Can't afford a safe. Can I buy my credit card?
You can buy it on credit card.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you yes. I'm going to say yes to everything.
Good boy.
But on the proviso,
I talk about some of the traits that money likes.
Money likes. Yep.
That's a good deal.
But yeah, your monthly salary on a £10,000 credit card, you can't afford to pay it back each month. It'll be like £1,000 minimum payment each month. And when you factor in your rent, your mortgage, suddenly you're going to be living on credit cards from credit card to credit card to credit card to credit card to credit card.
Yeah.
That's a terrible way to be, in my opinion. I know there are people out there that make it work.
What's the phobia called that? Where people are scared of spiders, Kieran?
Arachnophobia.
What, people are scared of heights? Height phobia, somebody says.
Height phobia, no.
Okay.
It's got a Latin name.
Let me make it easier for you. People who are afraid of tight spaces.
Claustrophobia.
People
Wide spaces?
What about people? No. What about
Agoraphobia.
Okay. All right. Smart Alec. What about people who have phobia of money? Yes, it exists.
I have no idea.
Crematophobia.
Crematophobia.
Yeah. So there are people out there, Kieran, who are afraid of making money, would you believe?
Wow.
And a lot of them. For different reasons, like we covered on the first episode when we introduced this, about money doesn't grow on trees and we're just here to pay the bills and all that kind of stuff, which we already covered. But people have a phobia. Now, I wonder they have some kind of a mental block and aversion. So first thing we do is need to clear up that to move forward. But that's not for today, because we're not doing any counselling here, we're just sharing information. And any information that we do share is not financial advice. If you want financial advice,
go seek a professional.
Somebody who's regulated to give investment advice. If you want advice on anything else we talk about, go to the professionals. We're just sharing information. The only thing that I am allowed to share is tax advice, by the way, because I'm regulated. You
are regulated. I, however, am not.
Kieran and I can talk about property based on our extensive experience. Yeah. So where do you want to start, Kieran?
So, I've got a bad relationship with money. How do I turn that into a good relationship with money? What do I need to change? What do I need to fix?
I think if you're talking about the traits money likes with that, then you've got to fix those traits in you.
Okay.
And all together, I have just over 20 traits, in fact just under 30 traits, by the way, that you should work on. And the first one is speed. Speed stunts. So money likes people who move with speed. I don't mean haste, by the way, but I mean speed, as in being decisive, thinking about stuff, and we were obviously talking...
So does this tie into more haste, less speed? If you're hasty without a purpose, you don't get to where you want to go to as fast as you want to get to. But if you're speedy with a purpose, more haste
those
equals less speed.
who are clear on their objective,
more speed equals...
Those who are clear on their objectives will move quickly, and it's that first mover advantage per se. We're talking about obviously property, and we do a lot. So you've done the maths, you've got the gold mine area, you know the numbers, you know what the average price per square foot is to buy, to refurb. You put your power team.
Tune in next week for your power team.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I was hoping next week we might talk about due diligence, because you mentioned that. We can talk about power team though, the week after, or we can fit both of those in if you like. But in terms of so you've got everything in place, so you know exactly what you're looking for. Think about a dartboard, the bullseye, the target. So when you see it, and you've got the funding, the financing in place, so all of your pieces are in sync. And all you got to do is, all your dominoes, push the first one and you move quickly. So money likes speed. At the same time, what it doesn't like is people who sit there and talk about stuff and who tell us, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. We've heard all sorts from, I'll join the gym next week or whatever, as to whatever else I want to do. I'm going to leave my job. I don't like it. I'm not happy in it. Start my own business, whatever it might be. But 5 years later, you meet them and it's the same tape playing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or the same CD. What's a tape, by the way? A cassette.
A cassette tape?
Yeah.
A cassette tape is two pieces of plastic and two reels that rotate within the two pieces of plastic, and a piece of magnetic film or tape in between with information stored on it.
You're older than you look.
Were you expecting that answer?
From you, yes. From me, no. Honestly, I'm not old enough to know what a tape is. I am really, though. Haven't we moved with times? See with what speed we moved from tapes all the way to whatever people use nowadays.
MP3s, digital media.
And so money likes speed, so you got to be decisive and you got to move with speed, okay, with a purpose. But a purpose is a separate trait, which I'll talk about some other time. That's number one. And by the way, these aren't in any particular order, by the way, okay? I'm just listing them for people to work on these. Money also likes people who track and measure. And this is all the way from tracking and measuring your performance. I mean, in your business, whether it's property or something else, tracking your bank account, okay?
Yep.
Tracking how many hours you work, how many hours you spend on your personal relationships, everything. Those who track, and as you know, Kieran, I've interviewed a lot of people. I used to have a newsletter where I used to interview people. And funnily enough, the most successful ones were the ones who were very, very particular about tracking everything. At that time, I never knew these kind of traits. I had established them, okay? But later the penny dropped, okay?
So you're telling me that...
They're very pedantic about numbers.
That people who are a bit wishy-washy and a bit, well, it's roughly-ish, maybe, might be...
They don't know.
That ballpark figure don't do as well with money as the people who say, it is this to the letter.
Well,
I know this exact detail.
Well, as you know, we can quiz most business owners and ask them 3 to 7 questions, and they won't know the answer to most of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Even in the world of property, in terms of what's your yield, what's your rate of return, what's your return on your investment, okay? In terms of your finances, how much do you owe to which bank, and are you getting the best possible deal? What's your burn rate? All these things, I haven't got a clue. I don't know what you're talking about. What's your internal rate of return? People haven't thought about it. Generally, in business, we're talking about, let's talk about marketing. What's your cost per lead? Okay, cost per meeting, cost per acquisition, lifetime value of a customer or a client. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. No idea. Your top.
It's a figure.
Your top 20% customers. What's the average value there? How much does it cost you to get?
Where do you get the majority of your customers from? Where are your best customers from?
Where do they come from? That type of stuff. So as you know, there's a long list of questions. Most people don't know, whereas those who track and measure know, and then say, okay, let's look for patterns, correlations, okay, and see where the best advantage in my particular business is, so I can focus more on that. So tracking and measuring is important in all walks of life.
Yeah.
And money likes people who track and measure, because then they identify those patterns and correlations and do something about it. The third one, which is partly linked to speed, is money likes courage. People who have the courage, okay, to live their life how they want. And a question that I think is very important to ask yourself in any situation is, if I was being courageous, how would I act in this particular situation?
Would you hand your notice in at work?
I would, but I think my boss wouldn't let go of me, Kieran.
I don't think your boss would let go of you either.
Yeah, I've tried, and she keeps saying no. By the way, she says no, you can't leave. So maybe one day she might see sense and say, "Go, okay," and we'll give somebody else a job. Then I can start my own business.
Imagine that.
I know, and I can act with speed, and track and measure everything, and finally have some courage to do something I want to do. Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Wouldn't that be fantastic?
But a lot of people live in fear, don't they? Okay?
Yes.
And it's difficult when you don't know who you don't know. But having that courage to say, I'm going to move forward, and we've seen so many times in business, because this is pretty much property and business, isn't it? Those people who have the courage to try stuff may fail, and they're going to fail often, fail fast, but they're quickly going to come out the other end. So money likes people who have courage to do things.
But even if you fail, and you fail often and you fail fast,
Yeah.
if you fail quickly enough, you quickly realise that you can't fail forever. Fact, you can't.
Yeah.
If you're failing fast and
you're learning.
You're learning.
The lessons aren't they? They're not failures per se, are they?
And if you're learning, then you're not going to fail forever. If you're not going to fail forever, and a lot of people pin their life's dreams, their hopes, their ambitions on some of these projects, and they can't afford to fail. And when you've got that drive, I cannot afford for this to fail. I might stumble, I might learn things along the way.
Burn your boats, and there's only one way. That's to keep marching ahead. Yeah. Fourth, money loves people who are ruthless with time management.
Yeah.
And time management really isn't time management, it's self-management.
Self-management, personal discipline.
Absolutely. So making sure you compartmentalize everything you have to do. So you talked earlier about having a good network, or having a network, so making time to do that, making time to do the other things that you want to do. People don't do that. They sit there and they're on the phone and they have a meeting, and as you know, we talked about this, they don't even have an agenda for the meeting, and before you know it, oh, it's been an hour, I'm still on the phone. What's the outcome? There's no outcome, there's no purpose, there's no objective. We're just chatting and it doesn't lead to anything.
I mean, I don't even answer my phone if
when I call, I know you don't.
No. 9 times out of 10 I do. But if I've got time, if I've got space, if it's within my sphere of my time to answer the phone and dedicate the time to that phone call, then I'll answer. If it's not, I won't, because that's my time. I am the boss of the phone. The phone is not the boss of me.
Absolutely.
And I know you're exactly the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's, if I ring you and you don't answer, you'll get back to me when you've got time.
Yeah, don't ring me 4 times, but I know you don't. But you ring me 4 times. You ring me once, I'm gonna fucking call back, which I will and you will. We'll call you back. Ringing 4 times isn't gonna change anything unless it's a real emergency. In which case, WhatsApp, text maybe, and this is the emergency. Call me back.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if people just ring you again and again and again and again and again,
it drives me insane.
Yeah, it's not going to change.
It's not going to change.
If I answer the first time, it means I'm most likely with me. I know, especially I just put the phone on the side. So I'm reading a book, watching a documentary, whatever I'm doing. Okay, the phone's on the side. You're ringing 4 times. I've not seen it 4 times. I've not even seen it once.
Yeah, but I mean, my phone permanently lives on silent.
Yeah,
I never have my phone on loud.
Yeah,
and so if I don't have if the first phone call doesn't happen and I don't answer your phone, then I'm not going to answer it the 3rd, 4th, 5th time.
But it's important to focus on time management and self-management, which again we'll talk about on a different episode. So that's number 4. Number 5 is money loves people who are disciplined in all walks of life.
Discipline.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things to do.
Yeah, but that's why money likes it. And it moves towards those people who are disciplined in terms of what they're looking to do and what they're looking to achieve.
I mean, prime example is that, previously when we were finishing at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I was going to the gym straight afterwards because it was a good time to go and there's still the rest of the day. Now we're back to 9 to 5. And so I've got to be up earlier to go to the gym because I don't want to go after work. So I've got to have that discipline to wake up.
You're not up earlier, you're up later. You're waking up like 4 in the morning.
I was, but...
Earlier than what you normally would.
Earlier than what I normally would.
You were trying to trick me again, weren't you?
Always.
And you thought I wasn't paying attention.
But you
Keep
were.
Keep trying though, you might get there one day.
One day. You're too sharp for me.
I wouldn't say that. Yeah, far from it. Number 6, you like this one. Money likes process.
I like process.
Yeah, I know you do.
I really do.
Yeah. But if you look at all the really successful businesses, the really big ones, we're not going to mention any particular names, they're all simple and process driven, and they're process dependent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And no one process is reliant on one person.
Yeah.
They've got a meticulously documented process, and I think that's one of the things.
That's right.
Everything is documented. I can hand you a stack of a how-to guide
manual,
for this
yeah.
business, a manual, and you can read through it and follow the
And
process.
get it, exactly.
And get it.
And that's how, obviously, franchising works, and some of the biggest businesses in the world are franchises, aren't they?
Yep.
And
I'm loving it.
yeah, and process should run your business, and people should run your process.
Yes.
Simple as that. Okay, so having checklists and policies and procedures in place is important, especially if you're looking to scale, and money likes that, and it moves towards people who do that. Number 7, you're gonna like this one as well. So I've just know the ones that I thought you were gonna like, but because only, as you know, I only do this show for you, Kieran. Nobody else.
I know.
I hope you know that. All the effort I make.
You don't do it to share all this information with our listeners and viewers.
Well, that's just a byproduct, isn't it? I just want to spend another hour with you.
And I appreciate
Yeah,
you.
every week. Yeah. And number 7, money likes a strong sales system. Because as you know, most people don't like selling. And they don't have a
They feel guilty about it.
Yeah, and they don't have a system for selling. So if you don't have a system for selling, then you're at the behest of the prospect, because you're going to be at their system for buying. And most people don't have a system for buying either, do they?
No, absolutely. No, completely not.
Everybody's in trouble.
Everyone's in trouble in that stage. And this is especially true in property, because properties are not small purchases.
Big.
They're not what we call impulse buys. I mean, if you think about it, and I challenge everyone listening to do this, think about anything that's up to about £30. Chances are, if it's something you kind of want, that'll be good, yeah, all right, you'll buy it. It's an impulse purchase. In some research, they say that the impulse purchase is up to £60, which is a sizable amount, but requires less thought. A house, property, is not an impulse purchase.
It's not. So that's number 7, having a strong sales system in place. And the others we are going to cover next week, because we've covered so much today. And where does time go, Kieran?
Time has flown by.
It has, hasn't it? But I'm going to quickly run you through those 7 in case you've just tuned in for the trace money likes. Number 1, speed. Number 2, tracking and measuring. Number 3, courage. Number 4, ruthless time management. Number 5, discipline and self-discipline. Number 6, process. And number 7, a strong sales system. So those are things that people ought to work on, alongside some of the others which we're going to share next week. And hopefully that's going to enable people to attract more money in their lives.
We'll combine that with your top tips for property that we promised them, but we forgot.
Absolutely. So until next week, take good care and see you next week. Bye for now.
Thanks for listening to Wealth Made Simple. You can follow and contact Shaz on the Facebook pages Entrust Property Tax and The Profits Wizard. You can also find Shaz on LinkedIn, YouTube and Instagram. Alternatively, email him at shaz@aa-accountants.co.uk. Build your wealth by mastering money.